Elara stood at the panoramic window of the research station, staring into the abyss of space that stretched endlessly before her. The pulsating lights of distant stars dotted the black canvas, a reminder of the universe's vast mysteries. "Dr. Miles, the Deep Space Comms Array has intercepted an unusual pattern," announced Javi, her young assistant, breaking the silence. His voice was a mix of excitement and caution as he approached with a tablet in hand. Elara turned, her eyes narrowing slightly. "Show me." Javi handed over the tablet, and on it, waveforms danced across the screen, a pattern that seemed almost intentional. "It's repeating, Elara. It doesn't match any known natural frequencies. Run a decryption. And Javi, keep this quiet. If it's something significant, I don't want a panic or bureaucracy stopping us before we even start." The decryption took hours, and the station's command room buzzed with a controlled tension. Elara and her team gathered around as the final characters displayed on the screen, a message calling for help from a civilization thought to be extinct. "This is incredible," muttered Elara, her mind racing with possibilities. "The HFYs, they vanished over a millennium ago. Should we inform the collective?" Javi asked, a hint of worry in his voice. "No," Elara decided quickly. "Not until we know more. This signal wasn't meant for human ears, and the collective might shut us down." The decision was risky, but Elara knew it was right. She tasked her team with pinpointing the signal's origin, a secret kept within the walls of their lab. Meanwhile, Cale Renner, the station's security chief and Elara's former partner, overheard whispers of the secret meeting. His heart was torn, his duty to the station and the lingering feelings he held for Elara clashed with the growing fear of what her discovery might bring. Days passed, and the team traced the signal to a dying star system, within which an obscure planet orbited, shrouded in darkness. Elara's hands trembled slightly with the realization that they might be on the verge of contacting a lost civilization. "We need to send a probe," she declared. "But the risks," began Javi. "We may never get another chance like this," Elara interjected, her voice firm. "Prepare the launch." As preparations commenced, Cale confronted Elara in the quiet of the station's observatory. "Elara, what are you doing?" Cale's voice was low, strained. "This could change everything." "That's the point, Cale," she replied, her gaze steadfast on the stars. "This is bigger than us, bigger than any fears we might have." Cale's expression softened, the internal struggle evident. "I don't want to see you hurt or the station compromised." "I know," she said gently, sensing his concern. "But I have to do this." The probe launched amidst a storm of secrecy, slipping quietly into the cosmic ocean. Days turned to anxiety-filled waiting. Finally, the probe transmitted its data, images of ruins, vast and ancient, and a planet crying out in silence. "It's real," Elara whispered, the weight of their discovery pressing down upon her. But triumph was short-lived. Cale's superiors in the Collective Security Bureau intervened, having intercepted communications about the unauthorized mission. "You've endangered this station and perhaps humanity itself," accused Director Voss, a stern woman with little patience for what she saw as recklessness. Elara stood her ground. "We've discovered a part of our universe's history that could redefine our future. We must explore, not hide." The standoff escalated until Cale, conflicted by his role and his past with Elara, made a decision. He testified in her favor, arguing that the potential benefits outweighed the risks. His voice, once unsure, grew firm as he spoke of humanity's role in the stars, not just as explorers but as guardians of history. Voss was unyielded, but the debate had sparked interest across the collective. Scholars, historians, and the public began to rally for Elara's cause, intrigued by the echoes of the HFY civilization. Under growing public pressure, Voss reluctantly agreed to a conditional exploration, supervised strictly under her directives. Elara and Cale, now reconciled, stood together as the new mission was prepared. This time, not just a probe but a crewed ship would venture into the unknown, carrying hopes of contact, understanding, and perhaps, a new ally in the cosmos. As the ship departed, Elara watched, her heart full of hope and fear. Cale stood beside her, his hand briefly touching hers in silent support. "We've answered a call that wasn't meant for us," she mused aloud. "And perhaps that's exactly why it found us," Cale replied, his eyes reflecting the starlight. Together, they turned their gaze forward, toward the dark expanse filled with light, mystery, and the promise of humanity's unyielding spirit. Alara gathered her team in the station's main lab, the air thick with anticipation and the quiet hum of computers analyzing the last set of data from the probe. The walls, lined with screens displaying star maps and complex algorithms, illuminated their determined faces. "Okay, team, this is what we trained for," Alara began, her voice steady despite the flutter of nerves in her stomach. "The probe's data confirms the existence of an ancient HFY outpost on that planet. It's not just ruins, there's something active, something, calling out." Javi, always the quickest to pick up on implications, leaned in. "You mean, there might still be HFYs alive? Or at least their technology," Alara clarified. "Something capable of sending a distress signal across space and time. We have the coordinates. Our next step is to find out who or what is still operating there." The team nodded, their expressions a mix of excitement and the weight of responsibility. "We need to keep this under the radar," Alara continued. "The collective is already on edge about our little unsanctioned probe mission. This next step needs to be flawless." Silence settled over the room as the magnitude of their task sank in. It was one thing to chase signals and analyze data, it was another to potentially make contact with a lost civilization. As preparations for a manned mission to the planet began, Cale pulled Alara aside. His expression was unreadable, a stark contrast to the open book he usually was. "Alara, are you sure we're ready for this? This isn't just about discovery anymore. It's about opening a door we might not be able to close." Alara met his gaze, her own resolve firm. "It's too late for doubts, Cale. This is bigger than us. It's about answering a call that has traveled beyond the graves of its callers. We have to see this through." Cale nodded slowly, the protective streak in him battling with his respect for her courage. "Then I'm with you. But we do this right. No more secrets. We need a plan that covers all our bases." Alara smiled, grateful for his support. "I wouldn't have it any other way." The next few days were a blur of activity. The station's best minds collaborated on a plan that involved stealth, diplomacy, and a bit of old-fashioned human ingenuity. They retrofitted a shuttle with the latest stealth technology, designed to approach the planet undetected by the collective's prying sensors. Meanwhile, Alara took it upon herself to train with the team. They drilled emergency protocols, first contact procedures, and even debated ethical considerations of interacting with potentially sentient technology or beings. Every scenario was explored, every contingency planned for. On the eve of their departure, Alara addressed her team one last time. "This mission isn't just about discovery. It's about proving that humanity can be a force for good in the universe. We're not just answering a signal, we're sending one too, about who we are and what we stand for." The journey to the planet was tense, with every member of the team aware of the historic nature of their mission. The shuttle's approach was smooth, cloaked in silence and the blackness of space. As they entered orbit, the planet's surface came into view, a tapestry of desolation and wonder. Crumbling structures hinted at a once great civilization, now succumbed to the ravages of time and neglect. "We're looking for any signs of active technology," Alara instructed, her eyes scanning the surface. "Anything that doesn't match the decay." It didn't take long. A pulse, a clear, deliberate pattern of light, from within the heart of the ruins. "There," Javi pointed out, his voice a mix of awe and disbelief. "It's not just a beacon. It's a welcome." Alara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "Let's not keep them waiting then." The shuttle descended, navigating through the remnants of grand avenues and massive arches. As they landed, the ground around the ruins stirred, not with life, but with technology, lights illuminating paths, doors opening, and the air itself vibrating with the power of a waking giant. Stepping out onto the alien soil, Alara and her team were met with the impossible, an HFY AI, its form a mesh of light and energy, designed to interact with newcomers. "Welcome, travelers from afar," the AI's voice echoed around them, both ancient and ageless. "You have answered the call we never thought would be heard. What brings you across the void?" Elara stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. "We came because we heard your distress. We come with respect and the hope for understanding." The AI seemed to pause, processing her words. "Then respect and hope shall be the foundations upon which we build this new bridge between our peoples." The discussions that followed were profound. The AI shared tales of the HFYians, their rise and fall, and their legacy of knowledge and warning about the universe's dangers. In return, Elara spoke of humanity, their struggles, their dreams, and their undying curiosity. As the mission concluded, the team returned to their shuttle, not just with data and artifacts, but with a new alliance, a promise of friendship and cooperation between humanity and the remnants of the HFYian civilization. Back on the station, news of their successful contact spread, turning the tide of opinion within the collective. Humanity was not just a newcomer in the cosmic dance, they were diplomats, explorers, and keepers of peace. Elara watched the stars from her window, a sense of peace filling her. They had answered a call not meant for them, and in doing so, had found a new path forward, not just for themselves, but for all of humanity. The day of the mission to the HFYian outpost was upon them. Elara, with her crew of hand-picked specialists, including Javi, prepared to make their descent to the planet's surface. As they suited up, the tension was palpable, a mixture of excitement and the daunting awareness of the unknown. "All right, team, remember, our primary goal is reconnaissance. We're here to learn, not to disturb," Elara briefed her team as they checked their equipment. "This civilization has been silent for centuries. Whatever or whoever sent that signal may not even understand who, or what, we are." As they loaded into the shuttle, Kale approached Elara, his face etched with concern. "Elara, be careful down there. We don't know what awaits you. Remember, no heroics, get in, gather information, and get out." Elara nodded, feeling the weight of his words. "We'll be cautious, Kale. Keep an eye on our backs from up here." The shuttle ride down was smooth, the planet's desolate landscape growing ever larger as they approached. The outpost was located in what appeared to be a crater, the remnants of structures poking out like the bones of a long-dead beast. Upon landing, the team disembarked, their suits protecting them from the planet's harsh environment. They made their way toward the largest of the ruins, a structure that appeared less ravaged by time. As they entered, they were not met with dust and decay, but with a flickering light that seemed almost inviting. The corridors of the structure were lined with panels that glowed intermittently, guiding them deeper into the heart of the outpost. "This is incredible," Javi whispered, his voice filled with awe. "It's like the building is alive, aware of our presence." They reached a central chamber, where the source of the signal awaited them, a console aglow with alien script, pulsing in a steady rhythm. Elara approached cautiously, her hand hovering over the console. "It looks like it's waiting for something. A command, maybe, or a key. Or a question," Javi suggested, examining the symbols. "Maybe it wants to know why we're here." Elara thought for a moment, then spoke clearly towards the console. "We heard your call. We came to help, to learn." To their astonishment, the console responded. The lights shifted, colors swirling, and a screen flickered to life, displaying a map of the galaxy, with certain stars highlighted. "What is it trying to tell us?" one of the specialists, Lena, asked, her eyes scanning the map. "It's a warning," Elara concluded, studying the highlighted stars. "These systems, they're marked with similar energy signatures to what we saw in the probe data. This isn't just about them, it's about something coming. Something these ruins were built to monitor, or maybe even defend against." The revelation hung heavy in the air. They were no longer dealing with a simple archaeological expedition, they were standing on the front line of an ancient surveillance system, possibly designed to guard against a cosmic threat. "We need to gather all the data we can. This information could be crucial," Elara decided, turning to her team. "Javi, Lena, start downloading everything. We're taking this back to the station." As they worked, the outpost seemed to react, the lights brightening as if fueled by their activity. It was as though the station was coming back to life, reawakened by their presence. Suddenly, the ground trembled, dust cascading from the ceiling as a low rumble filled the air. "We need to move, now!" Elara commanded, her leader's instinct snapping into action. The team packed up their equipment swiftly, the outpost's lights dimming as if saddened by their departure. They made their way back to the shuttle, the planet's surface unstable underfoot as they launched back towards orbit. Aboard the shuttle, hearts racing but minds sharp, they reviewed the data. The map was detailed, showing not just a warning but a network of outposts, each potentially holding keys to understanding the looming threat more clearly. "We've stumbled onto something big, something intergalactic," Elara mused, her eyes fixed on the screen. "This isn't just about the past, it's about the future. Our future." The shuttle docked with the station, and they were met by Kale, who enveloped Elara in a tight embrace the moment she stepped off. "You're back," he said, a relieved sigh escaping him. "We are, and with more than we bargained for," Elara replied, sharing a glance with her team. "We've got work to do." As they walked towards the command center, the weight of their discovery pressing upon them, Elara felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. They were on the cusp of something monumental, a secret buried by time and space that could either save or doom entire civilizations. "We answered a call that was never meant for us," Elara said as they prepared to delve deeper into the data. "Now, we set out to make our response. Not just for humanity, but for all life threatened by whatever these outposts were built to watch." In the command center, surrounded by her team and the hum of the station, Elara looked out into the cosmos, her resolve hardened. They would face whatever came, armed with the knowledge of the ancients, and humanity's unwavering spirit. Elara stood at the edge of the central chamber, the console now pulsing with a steady, faint glow. Around her, the team moved quickly, each member focused on their tasks, extracting data, cataloging artifacts, and recording the peculiar energy signatures emanating from the walls. The discovery had sent a jolt of excitement through the crew, but Elara couldn't shake the unease that lingered in the air. "Lena," she called out, her voice firm. "What's the status on the data download?" Lena glanced up from her handheld device. "We're at 80%, but the transfer rate is slower than expected. I think the system is fighting back. It's like it knows we're taking something important." Elara frowned. "Keep pushing. We can't leave without everything. Javi, double-check the energy readings. I want to know if the source is shifting." Javi nodded and moved toward the glowing console, his instruments in hand. The patterns of light on the walls seemed to ripple as he approached. "Elara, these levels are— wait, they're spiking. Something's changing." Elara stepped closer, her pulse quickening. "Spiking how?" Before Javi could answer, the room vibrated with a low, resonant hum. The pulsing lights grew brighter, faster, and the console's glow shifted from a steady blue to a deep, warning red. The hum rose in intensity, a physical force pressing against their ears and their chests. "We've triggered something," Lena shouted over the noise. "The whole structure is reacting." Elara turned to the rest of the team. "Fall back. Everyone, now. Abort the download." "But we're so close," Javi protested. "Now." Elara snapped. "We can't risk the entire mission for a few more minutes of data." The team scrambled to gather their equipment. The lights on the walls began to move, flowing like liquid, and the hum transformed into a piercing tone. Elara grabbed Lena by the arm, pulling her away from the console as the ground beneath them trembled. A sharp crack echoed through the chamber as one of the support columns fractured. Dust rained down from above, and Elara felt the adrenaline surge as she ushered her team toward the exit. "Go, go, go," she shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. They raced through the winding corridors, the walls themselves seeming to pulse with life. The red glow followed them, casting long shadows that flickered and danced in the swirling dust. Elara's mind raced. She hadn't expected the outpost to react so violently, but now it was clear they had awoken something far more complex, and possibly far more dangerous, than they'd imagined. As they neared the outer passageway, the humming noise shifted again. This time, it sounded almost like a voice, distant and distorted. Elara stopped in her tracks, listening, her breath catching. "Do you hear that?" she asked, turning to Javi. Javi hesitated, his face pale. "It's not just me, then. It's like it's trying to say something." Lena's voice trembled. "We need to keep moving. Whatever it's saying, it doesn't sound like a greeting." Elara forced herself to look away from the shifting walls. "You're right. Let's move." They emerged into the dim light of the planet's surface, the shuttle just ahead. Elara looked back briefly, her heart pounding. The once quiet ruins were now alive with energy, the red glow spilling out from every opening. She could feel the vibrations in the ground under her boots, as if the planet itself was warning them to leave. The team piled into the shuttle, slamming the hatch shut behind them. "Launch, now!" Elara ordered. The pilot, already prepared, fired the engines, and the shuttle rose quickly, leaving the trembling ruins behind. In orbit, the station loomed large, its lights a reassuring presence against the backdrop of deep space. As they docked, Elara's mind raced through everything they had seen, heard, and felt. The signal they had followed was no simple cry for help, it was something far more deliberate, more intelligent, and possibly more ancient than they could comprehend. Once aboard, Kale was the first to greet her, his expression a mixture of relief and urgency. "What happened down there?" The whole planet lit up like a signal beacon. "We thought you were caught in some kind of energy surge." Elara looked him in the eye, her voice steady but grim. "The outpost isn't just ruins, Kale. It's active. It's alive. And whatever we awoke, it wasn't happy." Kale frowned, his concern deepening. "Did you get what you needed?" "Most of it," she admitted. "But not without consequences. The data we have, it's alarming. The patterns, the energy levels, the voice we heard. It wasn't just a distress call. It was a warning." Kale's expression hardened. "A warning about what?" Elara held his gaze. "Something bigger than us. Something the AQ variants built this outpost to monitor. We've only scratched the surface, but one thing is clear, we're not alone out here, Kale. And whatever is out there, it's starting to notice us." The lights in the command room flickered, dimmed, and then brightened again, as if reflecting the growing unease within the station's walls. Elara stood at the central console, staring at the streams of data pulled from the AQ variant outpost. Every new pattern, every line of code confirmed what she already suspected, this was not a cry for help from a dying civilization. It was a warning left behind for anyone, or anything, that might stumble upon it. "The energy spikes are still increasing," Javi reported from his terminal. His voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed his nervousness. "If they continue at this rate, we could lose containment in the next few hours." "Isolate the energy feeds," Elara instructed. "We need to slow it down long enough to analyze the core message." Kale entered the room, his expression grim. "You're going to need more than a few hours, Elara. The Council just issued a directive. They want all research on the signal ceased immediately." Elara turned to him, a flash of defiance in her eyes. "We can't stop now. This isn't just about ancient ruins. If the AQ variants saw something worth leaving a warning for, we need to know what it is." "And what happens if the Council sends enforcement?" Kale asked, his tone softening. "You can't ignore them forever." Elara hesitated, then set her jaw. "Let them come. We'll have the data decoded by then. If we're right, the truth will speak for itself." Kale shook his head, but there was a faint smile at the corner of his lips. "You haven't changed. Always so sure of yourself." "Fine. I'll stall them, but you better have something solid." "Thank you," Elara said quietly, her gaze lingering on him for just a moment. Then she turned back to the team. "Lena, where are we on the pattern sequence?" "It's almost complete," Lena replied. "If my calculations are correct, we'll have the full data set in 20 minutes. "Good," Elara said. "Javi, prep a secure relay. If we have to send this off station, I want it ready. The team moved quickly, their focus absolute. The room hummed with the sound of machinery and quiet, urgent voices. As the minutes ticked by, the data streams on the console began to shift, forming coherent symbols that slowly translated into words. Lena gasped. "Elara, look." The message that emerged was chilling in its simplicity. "They are coming." "What does that mean?" Javi asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "It means the AQ variants didn't vanish because of a natural disaster," Elara said, her throat tightening. "They saw something, someone, coming. Something they couldn't stop." A sudden warning alarm blared through the station. Kale's voice crackled over the comm. "Elara, you've got company. The Council's enforcement team just entered the sector. They'll be docking in 10 minutes. Stall them as long as you can," Elara replied. "We're almost done." Kale's reply was terse. "I'll try, but they're not here to negotiate." "Lena, finish that sequence," Elara ordered. "Javi, encrypt everything and prepare for a data dump. If we can't keep it, we need to make sure it doesn't disappear." As the countdown neared its end, the final piece of the AQ variant message clicked into place. A star chart appeared, marking a single, distant system. A faint red line connected it to a cluster of other systems, all of which showed high-energy anomalies similar to what they had detected at the outpost. "This is it," Lena said. "This is where they were watching. This is where the warning is pointing." Elara stared at the chart, her mind racing. "We have to get this to the Council, no matter what." Before they could act, the station shuddered. The enforcement team had arrived. Over the intercom, a cold, authoritative voice rang out. "This is Council enforcement. Cease all activities and prepare for inspection." Kale's voice followed immediately after. "They're breaching the main dock. Elara, I can only hold them for a few minutes." Elara looked at her team. "We're out of time. Lena, send the data to every Allied research station. Javi, lock down the mainframe." The enforcement team's footsteps echoed closer. The tension in the room was electric. Just as the final data packet was sent, the doors slid open. A group of armed officers entered, their leaders stepping forward with a hard, impassive expression. "Elara Miles," he said. "You're in violation of multiple Council directives. You will surrender all data and come with us." Elara met his gaze, unflinching. "We can't stop this. The warning isn't just for us. It's for everyone. You have to let us finish." The officer's face betrayed no emotion. "This isn't your decision. By Council order, this operation is terminated." Kale stepped forward. "Wait. Listen to her. If she's right." "She's not," the officer interrupted. "And if she is, the Council will determine the next steps. Not her." Elara took a step forward. "By the time the Council decides, it might be too late." The officer raised a hand, signaling his team to begin confiscating the equipment. As they moved in, Lena whispered to Elara, "It's done. The data is out there. They can't erase it now." Elara nodded, relief and defiance mingling in her expression. "Fine," she said, turning to the officer. "You can take me, but you'll never stop the truth." The officer motioned for his team to escort her out. As they led her away, Elara glanced back at her team, giving them a small, knowing smile. The message was safe. Whatever came next, humanity would be ready.